For years, this wasn't just a wallpaper on my phone, it was something I looked at every day and imagined my life around. I spent countless hours scrolling through the internet, watching reviews, and dreaming about the day I'd own this bike. And the motorcycle was none other than the Jawa 42. But I didn't even know how to ride, and thanks to my friend who sacrifices mornings to teach me how to ride motorcycle, especially on his bike, which was a tall one, that is the X-Pulse 200, he had faith in me. And so Marshan, if you're watching this video, I'm forever thankful for your efforts. And back then, I was doing my masters, and so money was hard to come by. So I started to save. And after I saved my scholarship money and some amount from an award, I was able to save about half the amount required to purchase the motorcycle. But what about the rest? Well, that came from the bank of mom. Interest free, paperwork free, but lecture heavy. And when I finally got the Jawa 42, it was completely worth all the sacrifices. Everywhere I went, the Jawa 42 turned eyes, as it was unique in the streets of Shillong. I get numerous queries during traffic jams, and people keep asking about the brand and what is the cost of the motorcycle. And at parking spots, strangers became conversations. The young were curious about the ride quality, pull and the feel of the bike, while the old reminisce about the Jawas of their day. On an open stretch of road, I'd opened the throttle, and in that moment, everything faded. The noise of life, pressure, constant rush, all of it loosened its grip. And what remained was the pull of the bike and a quiet sense of relief that settled deep into the heart. And for a few seconds, the road, the machine, and I were in perfect sync. But as the bike turned heads everywhere I went, it also turned me towards every spare part shop in the city. भैया वो जावा का क्लच का स्क्रू होगा? And that's when I realized owning something unique means dealing with unique problems. जावा का क्लच का स्क्रू होगा? And it would be a Herculean task even finding a part as small as a screw, as there were no Jawa service centers in my city. And the motorcycle being unique, the part wouldn't even match those of other motorcycles in the market. भैया वो जावा का क्लच का स्क्रू होगा? I didn't stop loving the Jawa, but I needed something more practical for my day-to-day life. And that's when the Ather 450S stepped in. The Ather 450S felt like a quiet contrast, sleek in its design and clean in its lines. In traffic, it was easy to manage. It's light, responsive, and stress-free to ride. And what stood out to me was the build quality of the Ather 450S. It felt sturdy and well put together, and like something designed to handle everyday use reliably. So I use the Smart Eco mode on a daily basis. However, I have to switch to the ride mode occasionally when I have a pillion and when I'm going uphill. Otherwise, on a plain surface, the Smart Eco mode is quite enough. However, the scooter is quite fun to ride, especially on a sports mode, as I'm about to show you. It catches speed instantaneously on a sports mode, and I almost never use it in the city as it's quite quick. rather I like to save charge and go on a ride mode, which is quite powerful enough. And here is the smart eco mode. The suspension is quite good, and even on bumpy roads. However, one biggest benefit of owning an EV is that you don't have to visit the fuel station. So it has been months since I visited the fuel station, and I'm going on clean energy and green energy. As you can see, the auto hold has kicked in, that is, I'm not holding any brakes, and it is a bit of a slope. So as soon as you give the throttle, it's back to normal mode. Auto hold feature, which can be toggled on or off, acts like a handbrake when the vehicle is stationary on an uphill or a downhill. Coming to the maintenance, it's quite easy, as the only part that's needed to be changed most frequently are the brakes, depending upon the use. And there are no oil changes and no frequent servicings as such. One drawback, however, is the charging time, as it takes about 8 hours give or take to fully charge the vehicle from 0 to 100. Once it's fully charged, it's enough for my daily commutes, which overall I feel like it's manageable for daily use, comparing the fuel expenses of my Jawa and the charging cost of the Ather. Nothing can really beat the feel of the Jawa, but day-to-day life asks for something different. And that's when the Ather fits in. It's easier to live with, easier to maintain, and a more practical option for day-to-day use. It will never replace the emotions that I have for the Jawa, but it fits my daily life better, and that's what matters. The Jawa is what I ride for the feeling, but the Ather is what I ride because life needs to keep moving. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.